Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
Welcome to the Going to Killing City podcast, a historical look at murder in Kansas City. Here are your hosts, Jamie Green and Alex Greenwood.
Welcome back, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day for those Gaelic friends, including myself and Alex. And we've got a special guest this month, all the way from Hollywood, California. My old friend from Lincoln Southeast, Pound. Don't even remember where I went to school.
Yes, we did not go to the Catholic high school. No.
Jim Hanna.
Yeah.
We're joining us.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, Alex. Good to see you guys.
Yeah. So Jim is one of those people you don't think you've ever seen him and stuff, but you've seen Jim and stuff. Right now, Matlock, the reboot with Kathy Bates. Jim, what are you doing on that one?
Well, it was over 2 episodes. The first episode, I forget when this comes out. It probably comes out after the next episode airs. I was in an episode last Thursday, which would have been like, March 6th. And then the next one is playing this Thursday. Just as an annoying juror who's a bit of a problem. They figure he lied to get on the jury. And I can't spoil where it goes from there. But the first episode is basically, it turns out, and Jamie might know this, with or be on the same page with our progressive politics. This guy was actually a libertarian, anti-mask, just nasty person. At least I consider nasty, and anti-COVID vaccines. And he lied to get on this jury so that he could screw with somebody. Anyway, definitely not who I actually am. So that was a fun challenge to play. But yeah, I keep just banging around with little roles here and there, enough to string a nice career together. So
it's so cool to see. So if you are among our friends and stuff, we have a game like, did you see Jim on that?
It used to be more because I did a lot of commercials in the first 15, 20 years of my career, and those are great. I'm happy to do them. The industry has changed quite a bit, and so many of them are not filmed for union actors, and I won't do a non-union job. So I don't do commercials much anymore. That's probably where most of your listeners might have recognized me from, if they recognize me. I did dozens and dozens of commercials.
So we love Hacks, Jim, and it was so delightful to see you. And that's one of my favorite shows on television right now.
It was one of my favorite shows as well. I was thrilled to be on it. And it's definitely, talking about missed opportunities, that was one where I was only there for like 2 scenes and a few lines, but I got to ad-lib so much stuff. In this case with Hannah Ambinder, no, wait, she plays Hannah. Oh, I'm getting it all confused.
You're Hannah,
there we go.
And your name is Hannah, so there we go.
Yeah. We filmed for like an hour of just me ad-libbing, being a creep, hitting on her at this convention. And they said, oh, we love it. We can't wait. We're going to find a way to use it. Nah, they never used it.
Oh, my gosh.
Me being a mild creep with one line in my scene. Yeah, it's always fun to be on shows that I actually watch and enjoy and am honored, quite honestly, to be a part of. And Hacks is one of them. Matlock to some extent, but it's Kathy Bates. It's not nice to be in a project.
You won an Oscar.
Bates. Yeah.
So how have you done? Here, I'll nerd out. Have you done any Star Trek, Jim?
No, I apologies in advance. I'm not a huge Star Trek or Star Wars guy. Never have been, believe it or not. But I would obviously take any job I could. But no,
it just seems those shows were so ubiquitous for so long. I just figured there might have been an opportunity.
I don't know what have they been doing in the last 10 years or so? Because I mean, my career where I started working regularly really didn't go until like the mid-aughts, like 2003, 4, 5 is when I started doing a lot of commercials. And then
that's when Trek kind of ended here, and then they rebooted and started again, but they're shooting it all in Toronto. So that explains it. Yeah.
And theoretically, I could get a job here that shoots in Toronto, but they're casting locally, I would imagine, for most of those roles. But
yeah.
So I got to ask, and we're going to talk about Jim's really cool true crime show that's on YouTube. We'll get to that, and this is why we had him on. But I haven't, Jim, I haven't seen in a little bit. So, what was more thrilling for you, Betty White or Maureen McCormick to act with?
Okay, well, number one, that's always a cool part of this job is that even if I'm there for a day shooting a couple of lines, I've gotten to work with some of my heroes in the business. And obviously some legends like that. Even Gene Smart in Hacks, that was a real thrill for me. Betty White, quite honestly, that was in Hot in Cleveland, more than 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
And she was nearing the end of not her life necessarily, but the end of her career. She was very frail, and they just kind of ushered her on the set. She said her lines and then went away. So there was no interacting with Betty White at that point. Maureen McCormick, on the other hand. Now, this is the most low-budget, terrible, movie for kids. Oh, my God, what was it called even? Like Big Baby, maybe? And it was just, no one ever saw it. It may be streaming somewhere. I have no idea. But I showed up. I'm just this guy, and the daughter of my screen daughter is the star of this thing. And I showed up. I didn't know that. I knew I had a wife in the script, but I showed up and I was like, is that Maureen McCormick? And then they said, actually, yeah, that's your wife. You're married to Maureen McCormick. And even though I've worked with some really big names over the years, there's still those ones from childhood that get me the most excited. And so Maureen McCormick was the most I fangirled out in a long time, which is like, my wife is Marsha Brady. My wife is Marsha Brady. So that was definitely, believe it or not, more exciting than Betty White.
Hey, man, I don't blame you. I would have never done too.
I don't know if you need any more, but
oh, yeah.
Another, like one of my first star sightings a few years after getting here was Tony Dow, who played Wally in Leave It to Beaver.
Oh, yeah.
And see, that was such a favorite show of mine as a kid. I was watching repeats, by the way. I wasn't alive in the 50s.
I was going to say, come on now.
But I saw him just at like a cafe one day, and that I also got like, oh my God, it's Wally. It's Wally, for crying out loud. So those more nostalgic ones that tie into my youth are the ones that get me the most excited, quite honestly.
Well,
I just have to say, we'll just leave it at an ex of mine, as I may have mentioned to you.
Right.
Well, I noticed you were on the new Perry Mason.
Yes.
And she guested on an episode too. It wasn't the same one as you. I'm trying to find it, but anyway, it's such a small world. It just drives me crazy how small world it is. But you know what? I think you'll know what I mean when I say this, Jim. You have one of those great faces. You know what I mean?
Well, I do. Look, I do. Look, I'm confident in my skills as an actor. Let's start there.
Right.
I think I'm a solid actor.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of training, got a master's in and everything. Been doing it a while. But I fully acknowledge that my look is a huge part of how and why I get cast. And I'm okay with that. I still have to bring the goods once I get there.
Oh, yeah.
But I have this big, round, Midwestern white face that is, especially in commercials, was so castable in commercials in the last 20 years. I look like every suburban dad in the Midwest. So
we are, Jim.
What?
And that's what he and I actually are.
Exactly. I'm your representative in the world, in the screen world. Yes.
Well, and I say that because, I think a lot of people who are civilians, they're not in the business. Not that I am, but I'm just saying is that they don't fully understand how it works. It's like there's a ton of talented people who can't get arrested.
Yep.
But part of it is they know you're solid. Obviously, you've got a great track record, but you have one of those faces that can get you these parts, and isn't that part of the deal, right? You've got to you got to take your assets and use them to get in the door, but then the acting better be good or it's not going to go
sure
anywhere.
It's definitely one of those things you learn in acting 101 classes, and every acting class. It's definitely know your type, figure out pretty quickly once you get to a major market like Los Angeles or New York or Atlanta, even these days where there's a lot of filming, know how the business sees you. What do they think you look like, and how will you be cast? And don't resist it. Don't start like, no, I'm a leading man. I should be playing the lead in romantic comedies. How dare you? Or I can play the mob guy. I cannot play a mob guy. I'm never going to play a mob guy. So you learn your type, you embrace your type, you surrender to the type. And it's a huge part of why I've been able to string together a career for so long. So
well, man. Anyway, I'm just thrilled to meet you, and I'm sorry I'm kind of fanboying you, but I love to talk to people in the business, and you've got a great track record, and I'm just always curious your thoughts. And can I ask you one more question? And
sure.
Jamie's like, Alex, we don't have him all day.
No, I'm fine as long as you guys need me. I just didn't know if you want to spend an hour talking about some middle-class actor, journeyman actor's career.
I see, but that's the thing. Is like, as I told you offline, I know a few people, but I'm just curious. I know. I can't say who, but I've got a friend who's in the business who might be like going to fold up her tent eventually because she's just wondering if the business is starting to change to a different way or leaving LA almost entirely in a lot of ways. Or do you think that's particularly valid for you, or what do you think about the business? I don't want to get you in trouble with the business.
No, I don't think I'll get in any trouble because everyone in town seems to agree that this is where we are, which is that it is bleak right now. It is really bleak. I know, coming out of COVID, there was a huge production boom, and there were literally hundreds of scripted TV shows in production every year. And I worked more in the 3 years following. Well, I guess 21, 22, 23, I was working like crazy. Then the strikes happened in 24, which I supported 100%. And then I'm grateful that happened. And that also set things back quite a bit. And all of the studios kind of went, we don't know what's going on now. The economy is always a bit of a question mark. So they're all pulling back. They're pulling back their money. The streaming wars were kind of a bust in that everyone threw so much money into Hulu and Netflix and all of these streaming, Peacock. And then they realized there wasn't enough audience to support all of this. And so I think it's probably a retraction. It's an overcorrection right now that they pulled back too far. There's still enough demand out there for more productions. But so I feel very fortunate. Since the strike ended, I've worked 4 or 5 times, and I've got friends of mine who haven't even had 4 or 5 auditions in that time. So there are a lot of friends at my level who are just those kind of commercial guys or co-star faces that you see pop up who can't get anything right now. And so I am just counting my blessings that I'm able to still. But it could go away at any second. I could hit a slump. Those happen, and it's not a fun or easy town to live in when you're broke. So it's not fun anywhere when you're broke. But LA is a rough city when you're broke.
Do you do any plays or anything?
I haven't done it in a while, but I just now am starting. There's an event in a lot of towns. Probably Kansas City has one too. They call them fringe festivals, where it's independently produced, small theater basically. And just anyone with an idea and the money for rent can put up a show. And I've been doing that. I've done that for several years, starting about 2015. Took a break, and I'm back at it this year for the first time. In 6 years, I'm writing a play as we speak. Normally, I'm in them. This time, I am not going to be in it. A couple friends of mine are going to be in it, and we're producing it as we speak. So that's this summer.
That's fantastic. Jamie, I will cease my interrogation of Jim.
Look, you're talking. It's a well-known truism. Actors never mind talking about them. They're always thrilled. Go ahead.
Okay, so Jim, you got this thing on YouTube, and I think it's clever and it's funny and it's well done, and I love the concept, and that's why I wanted you to come on here because we're just Kansas City based, and true crime people seem to like true crime everywhere, right?
Sure.
So you've got this fun show called Shot or Shot.
Yes.
What's your buddy's name?
Jay. It's an old friend, very old friend, one of my favorite actors in the world. And if we're not getting acting work, well, let's just go screw around. There's no acting in this. I'll let you talk about it first.
Yeah, and no spoilers. So people, it's on YouTube in the show notes. We got the link so you can find it direct.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But you go to, there's been so much stuff. Well, either shot as in a movie or people being murdered in Los Angeles. I'm assuming that you've got a lot of stuff to consider, but you do 3 at a time.
Yeah.
Jay doesn't know where you're going. You guys get in your car, you drive around, and you did 3 of them, and it's a lot of fun. And I got none of them.
Well, it's a tough. Well, okay. So again, the premise being is that I drive to 3 locations in each episode with my buddy. He doesn't follow this stuff the way I do. I'm not only a fan of Hollywood history, I love especially like 30s and 40s old Hollywood, and I love seeing where, that's where Humphrey Bogart used to drink, and I go look at I don't know why I enjoy looking at places where famous things happen, but I always have. And I'm also a bit of a true crime buff, and LA is lots of great stories in this town of high profile, infamous murders. If I could just, Jamie, we're both from, I forget what your listeners know, but we're both from the same hometown, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yep.
And growing up there was one notorious, legendary spree killer, Charles Starkweather.
Yep.
And we all grow up with that in the background. Every one of our teachers, aunts, uncles, parents all have a story about what happened in Lincoln when Charles Starkweather, back in 58, I think, was
Mr. You remember Mr. Bogart?
Do what? Who's that?
Mr. Bogart from Pound. He was social studies teacher. He actually went to school with Charlie Starkweather.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that guy. But that's just it. Everyone, if you talk to anyone of a certain age in our hometown and mention Charles Starkweather, oh, he was my garbage man, or my cousin went to school with his cousin, or I had my dad came to school with a shotgun to get us out of school because they let school out, and there were armed, vigilante mobs riding through the city looking for Charles Starkweather. Again, before our time, Jamie, but growing up, everyone had a story. All the adults did. And my dad, also a bit of a true crime fan, I guess, always reading crime novels. He would drive us around the city to the locations where the murders happened. And he was fascinated. And somehow, I'm talking 7, 8 years old.
Right.
Really young. Not to get too specific, but there's one high profile murder of his that took place in the country club section of Lincoln. Mm-hmm. And not far from my house. We didn't live in the country club section, by the way. We were just over the border in the poor section. Yep. And we would drive, and you look at the house and you go, that's where Charles Starkweather killed 3 people. And then you just look at it. Now, that shouldn't on its surface seem interesting at all, but I was fascinated by it. And now I'm in Los Angeles, where there's any number of high profile of murders. Obviously, I was quick to visit Charles Manson murder scenes when I got to Los Angeles. Drove up to the Sharon Tate mansion, which at the time was still there. It's since been torn down. And I am a little bit intrigued by it. So I like looking at places where famous things were filmed, and I like seeing where famous people were murdered. And then I somehow combined them in this concept for a video series.
So how many do you think you're going to do this year?
Well, Jay and I, you saw one already. There's one out that we shot 2 basically at the same time. So I did 6 locations and then put the first 3 in the first one. And then because I'm working on this play and some other stuff, I had a job last week or 2 weeks ago that lasted most of the week. So I was really busy. That was great. So I'm still editing that one. It's very close to being done. So I'll have a second one out probably within the next 7 to 10 days. And then from there, I don't know. There's any number of famous filming locations, and there's any number of famous murders. Okay, so what I was intrigued by is once I started looking into this and researching it, that the conceit of the series is this a location where a famous Hollywood project was filmed, an infamous murder happened, or is it both? Because sometimes they will film a movie about a famous murder and use either the exterior as a location. Without giving it away, in the next episode, there's a famous murder location, and then they made a movie about that murder, and they filmed the murder scene in the bedroom where the murder happened, in the actual house, which is still standing. So that's creepy in its own right. But so it's basically shot or both. And there are not many boths out there, but I'm hoping to be able to find enough that I can do one of each in each episode, if that makes sense. So
it's easy. All right. So I'm surprising you. We're going to do, and Alex can't chime in because he's going to know some of these. I've got Kansas City version of Shot or Shot, if you're ready.
Oh, that's fun, because I figured there had to be a way to do it. Most cities can have that. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. So we are an audio podcast, but Jim can see a picture up of Union Station, the famous Union Station in Kansas City. So Jim, Shot or Shot?
So I'm guessing this is a major transportation hub that's been there for decades. Yep. I'm guessing when they film in Kansas City, it makes a nice backdrop for a bunch of different things. But I don't know Kansas City murder history to know if anyone was murdered there in a notorious way. So I would just say that's a filming location, shot filming location.
All right, here, are you ready?
Yes.
And by the way, we will let people know. It's both.
Yep.
All right, we got a both.
So for people that, Kansas City, Robert Altman, a Kansas City native who shot the movie Kansas City here in the 90s. I don't know if you saw that movie, Jim. Did you see that movie?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, Jennifer Jason Leigh's in it, and who else?
Certainly heard of it, but I don't
Harry
think I saw it.
Belafonte.
Natasha Richardson.
Yeah, Natasha.
Miranda Richardson, sorry.
Yeah. That was shot in the 90s. And then if you can see this picture on the right, we just did an episode last summer. So, Alex, you want to talk a little bit about the other version of shot?
Yeah, real quick. It's Kansas City, Jim, and for listeners who haven't heard this episode, I'll give this a little bit away. We covered this in an episode which we called Blood on the Tracks. Union Station.
Station train track, sure.
Thank you very much. And the birth of the FBI happened here because one of the Pretty Boy Floyd was in custody here, and there was a shootout to bust him out, and they killed agents and police and got away
in front of Union Station.
Yes, sir. There's a shop worn but not true story that there's still bullet holes in Union Station. There are not, but it still did happen there. So yeah, there's definitely some history there in Union Station. If you're ever in town, Jim, it's a treat to go there just to have beautifully restored inside. It's gorgeous.
Well, it's funny in LA, which doesn't have the most beautiful city in a lot of ways. Well, it's beautiful geographically, but sometimes some of the neighborhoods are kind of bland and ugly. But everyone agrees. It seems like every city's Union Station is this beautiful, beautiful. Back in the early part of the 1900s, they were all built and they're all Art Deco and art and beautiful. And can I just say? So I'm looking at that picture, the black and white picture, which I know the listener can't see, but that's the sort of picture that always has me intrigued. I love 30s and 40s black and white photos of crime locations, and in LA. There's a lot that involve like a studio head killing a starlet or a starlet killing a studio head but I was going to guess that had to have to be the mob. It looks like a mob hit. Yep. And I know that Kansas City's mob history is pretty rich. So I would have guessed a mob hit, but just by looking at the picture.
Tommy guns, man. They weren't messing around.
It was.
That wasn't a hit though. That was the FBI shooting it out with Pretty Boy Floyd.
Yeah, that was June 17th, 1933. And that's where it all went down. And I mean, if you go to KillingCityPod.com and look for Blood on the Tracks, you can see Pretty Boy Floyd's death mask. He did not die at this particular scene, but it was close. Jim, you might find this interesting. Jim, have you ever been to the Mob Museum in Vegas by any chance?
No, I have not. But when I go to Vegas, I just sit and play, cards and drink. So I don't go to. I'm not sure as much.
If you need a break, I'm going to tell you something. It's way better than you think it would be. Okay. And it's excellent. There's a whole chunk about Kansas City in there, which amazed me.
Well, even being in Lincoln, I'd heard that Omaha was a tinier, but in the early part of the 30s, 40s was a mob center, and it mostly came out of Kansas City. So Kansas City was, I guess it would go like New York, Chicago, Kansas City in the mafia hit parade from the 20th century. So I'm sure there's a section on Kansas City.
There is, and by the way, there is some mention of Omaha. I saw that. And by the way, folks, if you want to learn more about that, listen to me. I'm shilling. Congress versus KC Cosa Nostra episode came out in January this year. So I'll stop.
All right. So we are moving on to the second scene. Okay. Oh, there's Jeff the cat. Is that Jeff the cat?
Well, no, Jeff's passed away. I got 2 new kitties, and they bother me a lot when I'm on Zoom.
No, we don't care. So this one, Jim, you're not going to know this place, but Green Lady Lounge is one of our coolest jazz clubs in town. Obviously, Kansas City also has a very rich jazz history. This is down in the Crossroads. It's a really cool spot, great music, really cool cocktails and stuff. So for this one, shot or shot?
Can I ask, does everyone, not everyone, but do most people in Kansas City, if you say Green Lady Lounge, they have a reference for that? They know what you're talking about?
Yes.
And I wonder if it's because in addition to being a good jazz club, is it because a murder happened there or they filmed something famous there? Well, let me real quickly say the conceit of my series is kind of what I'm getting caught up on right now, which is Jay, my partner, doesn't know any of these locations. And it's always a guess for him. And he sometimes guesses right and sometimes doesn't. It's really not whether he gets it right. It's just exploring the history of these places. So this is a total guess. I have no way of knowing. I'm going to say some terrible murder happened at the Green Lady Lounge, not a filming location.
Well, I didn't play there, so no, that's not it. It was a movie.
The Matchbreaker.
And as far as we know, no one's been murdered there.
Oh, right. Yeah, but no famous murder anyway. So this one is really, and I had never, so I went to visitkc.com and looked at all the movies that have been filmed here.
Right.
I'd never heard of this movie. I had no idea this had happened. And part of it, which is kind of funny, is Victoria Jackson of Saturday Night Live fame is in the movie. But interesting, she's not credited in the movie, Jim. So I wonder if it's one of those ones where she's like, no, it's okay.
I suppose. Well, I should not get into any controversy. She's kind of gone around the bend in the last 20 years. Tell you what, the less said, the better.
Yes,
about Victoria Jackson, but I'm no longer a fan. And maybe they didn't want to be associated with her. Who knows?
No.
They put her in and they said, "Ooh."
So
she took a right turn on a dead end street.
Yes,
that's
she
what
sure
she
did.
So here's the thing that's like a very sad epilogue, though. So Christina Grimmie was in that movie.
She was the star of the movie?
She was the star of the movie. And actually, she was murdered by a nut job fan in 2016.
I know this story.
Right?
Yeah.
So she's in the movie. So it's kind of a weird, strange epilogue. So she was shot, but not in the movie.
Wow.
And her murder didn't get a whole lot of attention because it was the same of that Orlando nightclub where that guy killed over 50 people. So
right.
He kind of got, forgotten, for lack of a better phrase. But yeah, sad. The movie actually came out after she had passed away.
Oh my gosh. So, and by the way, so how did Green Lady Lounge play into that?
Well, she was a singer in the movie.
Oh, and they filmed there.
Yep.
Gotcha.
It's a cool place. It's cool.
Oh, and then she was murdered later. So like borderline almost a shot or it's almost a both.
That's why I picked it. I thought it's so weird. We got to talk. And I knew it would intrigue you.
And as a true crime guy, I don't know what I was looking at or how I found it, but I've certainly seen this story on one of my grim online searches I was doing one day. That was a rough one.
That's terrible. But anyway, so the movie's out there. All right. So last one. You ready for the last one?
I am.
All right. Hang on. So Shot or Shot, the famous J.C. Nichols fountain in the country club. You went to the Plaza, Jim. I have no doubt you've been to the Plaza.
Well, I went to Worlds of Fun. I remember that. I think I went to downtown Kansas City once. And was it the Plaza? And I also know it's the city of fountains.
It is? Amount of fountains only to Rome.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, I mean, honestly, the premise of my video series, there's usually one of each one in every episode. So I guess I got to go with this is somehow a famous murder location.
Okay. All right. Where's the drum roll? It's a movie.
Oh,
and Jim, if there was a time machine, there's no doubt you'd like to go back in time and star in Honky, a love story of hate.
Are you kidding? It's probably time for a remake. This looks like it's from the 60s or 70s. We probably need to
71.
Yeah, we got to reboot Honky.
And it's on YouTube. You don't even have to pay to watch it. The whole thing's on YouTube. I fast forward through it liberally.
I'm assuming it's terrible.
It's not very good. But Quincy Jones did the soundtrack and got a Golden Globe out of it.
Well,
wow.
He's certainly the film score guy. They paid tribute to him at the Oscars a couple of weeks ago for that very reason. Look at their Forbidden Love. Again, the listeners can't see this, but I'm looking at the poster art, I guess.
Yeah.
Honky.
Isn't it funny?
I don't know why I've never been offended by the phrase honky. I always just like, kind of probably when somebody says the honkies did this, I'm probably who they're talking about. So
well, honky than kids from Nebraska.
Oh my God, that was perfect.
By the way, Northern European from Nebraska.
Well, just a couple of trivia about this. I'm familiar with this one. Mrs. C herself, Marion Ross, is in this.
Mm-hmm. And whom I did work with briefly on the Drew Carey show 20 years ago.
Really? I hear she's a doll. I have friends.
Well, that was definitely another one of those that I don't even think we were in the same scene. I was only there for a very short bit, and this is probably my third job ever. And she was on the set, and I did have to at some point go, look, I just have to tell you what a fan I am. And I did fan gush a little bit over her. Do you know, so the fountain, how did the fountain play into the movie?
So they are at the bank, and I don't even remember why, and they run out of the bank, as they kind of like, did something to upset the person at the bank, and they run out in the street, and they run right past J.C. Nichols' fountain. But I have to, before you go, I have to read you this. It says, where Sheila, an affluent black teenager, began dating working-class white teen Wayne and asked his help to help sell a kilo of marijuana.
Wow.
Oh, so some serious drug crimes here. A whole kilo of Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. The film, Howard Thompson of the New York Times said, and he began his review by saying, "Honky is awful."
Period.
But the late, great William Marshall's in it, who I adore. And if you don't know, he was Blackula. Wow. And Blackula Scream, Blackula Scream. I loved him. He was a great actor.
Wow. So they got some okay names for... Yeah. So they got Mrs. Cunningham out to Kansas City to make a movie just before she was on Happy Days.
Yeah. Right. And Lincoln Kilpatrick was in it. I mean, there's some good actors in it. It's just apparently it's a horrific film. Yeah,
even on the being somewhat familiar with kitsch movies or B movies, I've never even heard of Honky, A Story of Love and Hate.
Well, I guess I know what you're doing when you get off with us on YouTube.
I might be fast forwarding through it myself, but
But Jim, it's so nice to talk to you.
That was really clever, man. That was really cool. I knew that every city can. I just say one last thing? Like you could do it in Lincoln. You could do shot in Lincoln probably because Terms of Endearment was shot there, and obviously the Starkweather murders were there. Those have some national fame. Like most cities, you could put together an episode or two of Shot or Shot. Sounds like you could do several in Kansas City.
You should sell franchises on this, man.
Well, yeah,
have you trademarked this? You should trademark this.
No, I'm hoping, maybe Travel Channel will come by and buy the concept out for me. Who knows? It'd be a long shot. But I would look, if anyone ever wanted to do it, I'm not going to be precious about, that was my idea. How dare you? I think it'd be cool if other cities did it. So,
well, Jim, you ever come to Kansas City? We'll do it.
All right. Very much. Very, very cool.
It's so great to see you. It's up on YouTube, people. Highly, highly recommend. It's a lot of fun, even though it's about murder. Can't say enough about it. So thanks so much for coming on Killing City Podcast, Jim.
What a pleasure to meet you.
Very, very pleased to meet you, Alex. And Jamie, it's good to see you again. And I'm glad you're plugging away in the true crime world. And it's very generous of you to ask me to come on and to promote my project a little. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. We'll see you soon. Take care.
All right. I'll leave you guys to your crime of the episode.
Yeah.
All right, Jim.
You did.
Thanks a lot.
Take good care.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody.
What a delight. I really enjoyed meeting Jim. You forgive me for going on, but I love to hear about people in this industry. I've always nibbled around the edges of it, but the reason I want to hear about it is because you got to love this business to do what he does. I mean, it is not easy. And what I love though about him too is he's not just sitting there waiting for the phone to ring. He's doing creative things like you and I are doing, doing his own show. And there will be a link in the show notes, folks. In fact, there may be a way to embed an episode into the show notes at killingcitypod.com. Stay tuned for that. Check it out. If you're listening to this now, go check it out. We're going to do our best to embed an episode there. And if it's not, well, there'll at least be a link for you to go. And hey, listen, go subscribe. It would make Jim's day, and it's a hoot. You got to check it out.
Absolutely. So a couple things. We only have 2 episodes left for season 2, which I know is crazy.
Oh, man.
We're getting there, and we're going to take a little break over the summer. But real quick, and if our friend Gene Peters Baker is listening, Gene, just pretend like what this podcast's really name is. Gee, killers are crazy instead of it'll make you feel better. And
poor Jean, she really hated the name of the show. She was a good sport to come on, considering she thought it was really bad for the city.
Yeah, she was. But that thing's already a top 10. It's like number 7, and it's going crazy. Hundreds of downloads. So obviously very popular, and thanks, Jean, for that.
Yes.
But we are getting down. So real quick, this month's episode is sponsored by, again, our good friends at West Bottoms Whiskey. And this month we are featuring the Distiller's Cut American Single Malt Whiskey, which is very yummy. and always do a hint for Alex. And so my hint this month was boom, goes the dynamite. And Alex came up with a drink. What do you got, Alex?
I actually made this one myself. It was something I'd kind of been fooling with at home, and then I thought, oh, wait, Distiller's Cut whiskey. What I love about Distiller's Cut, by the way, is it's a peated whiskey, but it's not like, calm down, folks, if you're like, oh, I don't want that really heavy peated stuff. No, this is really nice. But here's what I came up with. It's something I call a smoky fuse. And it's a bold, smoky twist ignited with smooth sweetness. So here's what you do, and there'll be, in the show notes, it's at killingcitypod.com, but 2 ounces of Distiller's Cut whiskey by our good friends at West Bottoms. About 3/4 ounce fresh lemon juice to taste, but get enough in there. But then make yourself about a 1/2 ounce of honey syrup. It's 2 to 1 honey to water. It's not hard to make. If you get trouble, Google it to learn how to make it at home, which I'd recommend. If you get stuck, give me a call. About a 1/4 ounce of pear liqueur. And you're like, oh, geez, Alex, am I really going to buy a whole bottle of that stuff? I'm like, listen, yes, you are. And then a dash of aromatic bitters. Angostura works just great. A splash of sparkling water is optional if you want to kind of leaven the alcohol content a little bit. A lemon peel for garnish. I looked around trying to find an idea for like a fuse, and candied ginger would work, but you could also stick a rosemary sprig in there, or you could just say, imagine there's a fuse here. I mean, I understand. Let's don't get too precious here, but I have a kind of a cool picture that I'll share on the show notes page. So what you do, fill your cocktail shaker. It's a shaker with ice. Add Distiller's Cut whiskey, the fresh lemon juice, honey syrup, pear liqueur, and aromatic bitters. Shake vigorously until well chilled. So you got to really, you can't be just a chugga. It's a chugga. It's for a bit. Okay, what you do then, strain into a rocks glass filled with fresh ice. I do not, please, put the ice from the shaker into the glass. Strain it into clean, new, fresh ice, okay? Top it with just a little splash of that sparkling water. It gets a little effervescence, and that's optional, but I recommend just a little bit. And then garnish it with a twisted lemon peel, which anybody can do, okay? And by the way, one of these days we're going to do a video show, and I'm going to show everybody how to make really pretty garnish, okay? I'm going to show you how, okay? Again, I'm an amateur, but I know how to do that at least. If you have a piece of candied ginger, skewer it on a cocktail pick. It could symbolize the ignited fuse. And here's what I love about this, Jamie. This cocktail, it opens smoothly, okay? And then it highlights the honey's delicate sweetness and the fruity notes of the pear, which complement the whiskey's malted barley undertone. So this mild, smoky character from the peated whiskey, it builds gently, and then it kind of culminates in like a zesty, flavorful finish that's reminiscent of an ignited fuse, leading to an exciting burst of complexity. And yes, okay, fine, I went crazy on this one, but I love our friends at West Bottoms. And I mean, I wasn't about to just go. By the way, I have a library, and Jamie will tell you that I have a library. I have about like 24 cocktail recipe books. I was like, no, nay, I say, I'm going to create one. It's St. Patrick's Day. By God, I'm going to make it. And I hope everybody enjoys the Smoky Fuse with West Bottoms Distiller Cut whiskey.
You have outdone yourself yet again.
Thank you, my brother.
Next month I will be sure to underwhelm yet again. Oh, we had an actual almost spit take. That was
almost. I was drinking a little of this here. Oh.
So speaking of St. Patrick's, then we're going to get started with the episode. Since Alex was shilling, I'm going to shill. I've got a gig on I have not played on St. Patrick's Day in I don't know how many years, a long time. But I am playing at Fox and Hound. It's 103rd at Metcalf. Playing as a trio. It's me, my buddy Matt singing lead, me singing harmony, playing guitar. He sits and plays a cajon. And Missy Andiel, who's fabulous, playing piano. That's 6 to 9 on St. Patrick's Day. It's early for old people like us. They have food. They have drink specials. You can be home and in bed before 9 o'clock.
And so, okay, that's the 17th, and this episode comes out on the 15th, so check your show notes for a link. Jamie, it's up to you. Send me the link. I'll put it in the show notes.
I will do
so people can find it. I'm excited. So I just have to ask, because it's kind of been I'm not working St. Patrick's Day, and now all of a sudden you are. What got you out of semi-retirement?
Well, it was a combination. One thing, it's a Monday,
Mm-hmm.
so people don't tend to go as crazy during the day. And then second is some of Kelly's family is actually out of town this year. Those bastards, they went on spring break, so it's not the entire crew. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? And then I got offered to play. And since I got offered to play, I was like, okay. And yeah, but if it was late, I would not have done it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm excited. And so it's Monday, St. Patrick's Day. Where again?
Fox and Hound, 130 Metcalf.
Yep. I've been there. Been there.
Pool
Yep.
tables, lots of pool tables, lots of dartboards. Please don't throw at the band though. And good food. They're going to have drink specials. Like I said, super early. It will be light with the time change for half the gig. So
I may, don't hold me to it, but I may just on my way home from work stroll in there and just say hey and watch for a bit. Is there a cover?
Nope. No cover.
No, not even you have no excuses, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in Kansas City area, go see my buddy play. And if you haven't heard Jamie play, not a joke. I'm not saying it because he's sitting here with me. I'm telling you, he's brilliant. He's great. He can sing. He works with brilliant other singers and musicians all the time. And it's just a treat. So get out there to the Fox and Hound.
All right. So we're going to delve in. And I'd like to, even Jim's not on the call anymore. I'd like to thank Jim for teeing this one up so much because and this month, we're going to talk about this. Kansas City's River Market is one of the most beloved neighborhoods in our city.
Yes, indeed.
People love the farmers market, the actual farmers market. You can go in and get fresh produce, which is amazing.
All the time. All
the beautiful brick architecture. A lot of that's even from the 19th century. I mean, it was when Kansas City first became Kansas City. There's a bevy of stores and restaurants in that area that's served by our streetcar. We go down there a bunch. But what if I was to tell you that the River Market has a dark history and was the place of one of the most infamous acts of violence, that's plural, of the Kansas City mob ever perpetrated? All right. So our story begins way back in 1971 when a Rockhurst University professor took a shine to the River Market and thought it could be a family-friendly spot for Kansas City. His name was Marion Trozzolo, and he had the most remarkable life. Yes, if you know PR and advertising, the Trozzolos are known. We will get to that, but it's a family here in town that people know. So Trozzolo was born in Castrolibero, Italy. His family moved to Chicago in 1927 when he was just 2 years old. Trozzolo was a war hero. He served in the Second World War, and he received the Bronze Star, the Silver Star, and a Purple Heart. So once again, somebody comes to this country who's not even from it and serves wonderfully and admirably. Maybe we shouldn't hate immigrants so much. That's all I'm saying. The political right there. Sorry.
Just saying.
All right. So after the war, he got his bachelor's and master's degree from the University of Chicago. So he's obviously a very smart guy. He then moved to Kansas City in 1951 to be a professor of business administration and economics at Rockhurst College, which of course now is Rockhurst University. Marion was an inventor. And in 1957, he founded Laboratory Plasticware Fabricators. The product they developed that really took off, Teflon. His big hit invention was the Happy Pan, a Teflon-coated frying pan. The frying pans were a huge hit, and Trozzolo became a very wealthy man.
I had no idea that. So really, that's where the family got its launch, was frying pans?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Wow, interesting.
Very cool. So soon after Trozzolo moved to Kansas City, he fell in love with the charm of the River Market. Now, the River Market had fallen on really tough times. It wasn't doing very well at all. But what he saw, he loved, and he started buying up property. He bought over 30 buildings. And these were mostly derelict buildings, kind of falling apart. But Marion had a vision of what it could be. He wanted to tap into the history in the area, noting that the original Westerners to see Kansas City were French trappers. So he decided to name the area the River Quay, Quay spelled Q-U-A-Y, not K. A quay means a structure built parallel to the bank of a waterway for use as a landing place.
Correct.
And that's what the River Market was originally when people first came to Kansas City. By June 1972, the River Quay was officially launched. A Kansas City Star article from that time stated, It was a, quote, spirit of camaraderie, adventure, and expectation prevails among the River Quay merchants. And Trezella himself was quoted stating, quote, now I get a good feeling from what we were trying to do here. There are a lot of people involved, a real effort underway through the area. It is a tremendous gratification to see it developing. The river market had new life, and it was wholesome too. No bars were allowed unless they served food, no loud music, and no strip clubs, which Kansas City had a bevy of those in the early 1970s. But as we have found out, all good things can't last, Alex. As we've touched on this podcast a couple times, the mob has been talked about. We talked about John Lazia in episode 1. Alex just did the Kefauver hearings just a couple months ago. But those activities did not stop after the Kefauver hearings. They not only did they go on, in some ways they grew. Okay. So for example, we have to talk about the Sevilla family. They were very active in the neighborhood next door, Columbus Park. The Sevilla family saw money being made and they wanted in. So they decided to lean on someone they knew, Freddie Bonadonna. Now, Freddie is an interesting character, Alex. Freddie's dad, David, was a mafia associate, but he wanted his son to find a different life than his. David Bonadonna was known to be part of the Willie Camisano's crew. So even with the family connections, Freddie opened a restaurant called Poor Freddie's in September 1972, and it was an immediate success. But Freddie made a huge mistake, Alex.
What did he do?
He bragged how much money he was making to the Sevilla family.
Oh my gosh.
He stated it was $10,000 a week. Even worse, it wasn't even accurate. He was exaggerating just to get attention. Now he had their entire attention. The Sevillas wanted to open their kind of business in there. X-rated movie theaters, strip clubs, bars. And the Camisano family was part of that. The Camisanos were known to be the enforcers of the Sevilla family. All right. Now, to open an establishment that needs, to serve liquor, you need to go to, the board. You have to get a liquor license. There was a hearing involved with this. In this case, two brothers, Joe and Willie Camisano, who had owned strip clubs up on 12th Street, wanted to open more in the River Market. Freddie Bonadonna wanted no part of that, and he worked actively to thwart their license. This infuriated them. I think you know where this is going, right? Okay. So David Bonadonna warned his son that they were both targets. And David paid the ultimate price. According to witness testimony, David was seen driving his green Mustang to Willie Camisano. You'll like this. What do you think Willie's nickname was? It's not a double entendre, just letting you know.
Oh, okay. Not Slick Willie or...
Willie the Rat.
Oh, well, that's so on the nose. Oh, my gosh. That's so funny. They didn't mess around, did they? It was like Jimmy 2 times to get the papers. They're just very literal, weren't they? Anyway, Willie the Rat. Okay.
So Willie the Rat had a quote-unquote social club at 536 Row down in the River Market. David had shown up in his green Mustang. A short time later, a witness who had seen, Bonadonna go into the parking lot, he sees the Mustang pull out, but he could tell it was a different person driving the Mustang because who was driving the car now did not know how to drive a stick shift. He was like grinding the gears, killing the car, wasn't going well, and then drove off. And David Bonadonna was missing for 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, family had no idea what happened to him. He was nowhere to be found. But at that point, Kansas City Police Department was called to 9th and Wabash after a report of an abandoned car, which happened to be that green Mustang. On July 22nd, 1976, David Bonadonna was found in the trunk of his Mustang. He had been shot in the back of the head.
Oh.
His son, Freddie, was understandably terrified. So he left Kansas City soon after that in February of 1977.
Poor Fredo.
Right? Totally. The mob was muscling into the River Market, and they were going to use their MO to do it. All right. So that murder of David Bonadonna got the FBI's attention. They got a warrant and searched Willie Camisano's garage, looking for evidence that Willie had murdered Bonadonna. Tensions were running high. And now yet another family was getting involved, the Spiro brothers. More on them in a minute. But the one key outcome, the FBI was now operating a wire on the Sevilla stronghold. But let's talk about the show, The Wire. Huge fan.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie and tell you I've seen the entire series. It's one of those that I knew to go watch it eventually, and I came to it, and I got into it. And I went, this is more of a commitment than I have the energy for right now. And Jamie, you know my schedule.
Yeah.
So I just stopped, but I intend to get to it sometime. But Stringer Bell, I'll just say that.
Yeah, it's such a great show. David Simon could write his grocery list out, and I would read it. He's that good at it.
Right.
All right. So just a few months later, after David Bonadonna was murdered, on March 27th, 1977, at 2:11 a.m., an enormous explosion rocks through the River Quay. Destroying Freddy's and the bar located next to it at 4th and Wyandotte. FBI officials stated that 10 times the amount of explosives needed were used to blow these things up. Literally 100 pounds of dynamite was used.
Whoa, 100 pounds?
100 pounds.
Hokey smokes.
Yeah. Apparently it rattled windows for miles, broke out windows. People could hear it all over town. And this was a message, they were trying to send a message. Okay. Nobody died, though. Fortunately, at least in this case, nobody died. We have a lot of deaths before and after, but not in this case. All right. So just a month before, in February of 1977, FBI overheard a meeting between Carl Sevilla and Carl Spiro. Once again, same names. So confusing. But Sevilla was heard saying, quote, "I don't care how long it takes. They should have gotten him a long time ago. It doesn't matter if it takes 6 months or 6 years. We'll get him." That him, of course, was the son, Freddie Bonadonna. But interesting. Sevilla was already not trusting Spiro.
Yeah.
And had the Spiro brothers under surveillance and was using things like torture and murder to prove that his suspicions were correct. So let's just go back a few months from that meeting. On November 17, 1976, the body of John J. Brocato was found frozen in a car trunk at KCI.
Oh.
According to KCPD, Brocato, who was only 32 years old, he had been tortured, then strangled. He had been missing for 16 days before his body was discovered. The FBI believed he was tortured for information on Spiro's plan against the Sevilla outfit. This is like total mob movie, but it's
totally
the thing.
Yeah. I keep feeling like I'm going to hear like The Bridge to Layla start playing.
Totally. So just a few minutes later, February 19th, 1977, 2 armed men with shotguns ambushed Johnny Green, Amaro. How did he get Johnny Green from Amaro? I don't know. Anyway, a known Sevilla outfit.
I'm Mo Green.
Right?
I made my bones when you was... Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Wrong mom, but yeah.
I got my eye on Mo Green.
Yeah, somebody... Terrible.
Sorry. Sorry.
You nailed it. Anyway. Okay. February 19th, 1977, 2 armed men with shotguns ambushed, Johnny Green, a known Sevilla outfit member who owned Big John's in the River Quay. He was gunned down driving into his garage at his home, a home that was only half a block from Carl and Nick Sevilla's home. So here's the answer to the original murder is like a week and killed 2. But this is just starting. So just 3 days later, on February 22nd, 1977, 4 masked gunmen walked into a tavern at 3507 Broadway and murdered Harold Sonny Bowen as he sat in a booth. Bowen apparently knew both Carl Spiro and Fred Bonadonna. Authorities stated it was regarded as vengeance for Amaro's murder just 3 days before. In a later affidavit, those gunmen were identified as 4 members of the Sevilla gang, including Carl's son, Anthony Tony Ripe Sevilla.
I'm sorry.
How did he get the nickname Tony Ripe? Do we want to know?
Do I want to know? I don't know. I just know there wasn't a lot of air conditioning.
Yeah, it was early. So it's very clear Kansas City was in the middle of an all-out mob war. I mean, this is nuts. How many they're killing people all the time and stuff. On August 5th, 1977, just a few months later, a bomb went off under the car of Gary T. Parker as he got inside his car in front of Louis Bar and Grill, not the one in Waldo. Years ago. This one was at 4127 Truman Road.
Got it.
Parker was also young, only 35, and he was known to be associated with Fred Bonadonna and Carl Spiro. On May 2nd and 4th, 1978, Myron Andy Mancuso and Michael A. Massey were both found in separate cars in separate locations, both dead from gunshot wounds at the back of their head. A source stated that they were murdered because they were planning to murder more members of the Spiro family. Less than 2 weeks later, on May 16th, 1978, three masked gunmen burst into the Virginian Tavern at 1315 Admiral Boulevard, where Mike, Carl, and Joseph Spiro brothers, these are three brothers, Mike, Carl, and Joseph, they were there. In a blaze of gunfire, they would murder Mike Spiro, wounded Carl so bad that he was paralyzed from the waist down, and shot Joe Spiro in the arm. So, Alex, how would this all end?
You got me, brother. Probably a lot of more mayhem, I would assume. But
Super Bowl IV.
69?
Super Bowl IV, the Super Bowl that featured Alex's Kansas City Chiefs.
And the Minnesota Vikings.
That's right, the heavily favored Minnesota Vikings.
Skull this.
Yeah, well, they're 0-4 in Super Bowl. Fun fact. Hometown Chiefs fans didn't care about the odds, right? If you're just like a random gambler, you're not like the real thing. You're like, I'm bet on my home team every time.
Right.
So they bet heavily on the Chiefs, and then the Chiefs won. When the Chiefs pulled that upset, the Sevilla family bookies took a huge loss to the tune of $40,000, which back then, nothing to sneeze at.
No.
That call was recorded. Remember, they were being tapped. Sevilla was convicted of this and sent to prison. So kind of like they got, of course, the big mob guy I'm blanking on in Chicago, Al Capone with tax evasion.
Uh-huh.
They got this. They didn't get him for the murders. They got for, racketeering.
Well, yeah, they got him for tax evasion, really. I mean, that opened the door to the racketeering, but yeah.
So he would die in prison in 1983 of lung cancer. And his brother, yet another fabulous nickname, Carl the Cork Sevilla, took over.
What a cork can eat.
Right. But it didn't last long. Both Carl and his son Anthony, remember Anthony?
Anthony.
My little son Anthony. Now we're doing The Sopranos. They were convicted of skimming operations in the Las Vegas casinos in the 1970s. Alex, it was probably when you were at that museum in Vegas, they probably talked about this.
Yes.
He was sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison. The father, he died there in October 1994 of pneumonia. Oh. The River Quay Mob War was over, but at a tremendous cost, with all the people killed, all the property destroyed, and the River Quay name would be forever tainted. It's not been used forever, and it would take another 30 years after this before the river market would recover and become the district that Kansas Cityans love today. But Marion Trezzola would not live to see it. He died of cancer on June 3rd, 1992. That is why we called it Boom Goes the Dynamite, because they used a lot of it.
I heard that and I thought that could be it, but maybe not. I'm joking. I mean, seriously, I didn't say anything. Yeah. You see that the whole thing, when I first moved to Kansas City in late 2005, and then was dating a lovely daughter of Kansas City, basically, and within a year, we'd gone to the restaurant down there.
Yep.
Which what I'm blanking all of a sudden on the name. Dang. But it has a reputation. It's an Italian restaurant.
Oh, you're
was it
Gazzari's, Giraldi's, something like that? What is it called?
Oh yeah, something like that. Yeah, and it's good. It's nice. But it's interesting the way the area has. The ethnography of the neighborhood has changed so much. There's still that restaurant, that Italian landmark is still there. But it's also, I think that area, the neighborhood is very much home to, I think, the Vietnamese community.
Then very much more now. I mean, obviously, there's still Italian people there. It's still called Columbus Park, but there's quite a few Vietnamese families that live down there now.
Yeah, yeah. But is it Grosso's? I'm trying to remember. Anyway, but it's you can get some nice Italian food. But this one, I think I never processed just how close that restaurant is to the city market, the river area, and how this was. In Kansas City, as we've covered, and we've come at the Kansas City mob from so many angles doing this show for almost 2 years, and it's just interesting. All their fingers are in so many different pies, and there's so many stories like this one. I hope the listeners aren't like going, well, of course we know what's going to happen. Somebody's going to end up dead. Well, yeah, that's what happened. But it's just interesting how it all comes about. And what I loved about this one was you painting this picture of this cast of characters,
Yeah.
And you could maybe it is the Sopranos and the Goodfellas and the Casino, but you could just start to see them as you talk about them, And I drive a Mustang now. It's an electric Mustang, and I'll never think of it the same way, knowing that some poor son of a gun.
At least it's an automatic. So after they kill you, you'll be at least they won't, grind the gears. I will say, since we had Jim on, we were talking about movies earlier. It's kind of, and so back after all this was over, 1981, Marion Trezzolo started working with the Kansas City Star newspaper called Frederick Lewis Richardson and developing a motion picture project on this whole thing.
Right.
It was going to be called Battle for the River Quay, and it was going to be.
Really?
Yeah, and the chairman of Paramount Pictures, Barry Diller, had expressed an interest in reviewing the script, but the project stalled and never went anywhere. This, Hollywood loves mob movies, TV, whether it's television or film. This is dying to be a movie because it's so ridiculous, it's so violent, it's so stupid, it's all of those things,
Well, if they produce it, we need to make sure that Jim Hanna's put up for a role as like a cop.
Totally.
Doesn't he look like he could be one of the cops at Union Station for the Pretty Boy Floyd shootout? Really he looks like he'd be great at it.
Jim's such a good actor. He actually played. There's a show called SEAL Team, which I never saw the show, but I saw the clip of him, and he was General Parham. He was a general of the SEALs, and he's such a good actor. You could totally buy it. And I know what a pacifist Jim is. And I also know him as like way not into the military, but that's what a great actor can do, man.
Yeah.
That's rule.
Well, that's why I made that comment about he's got a great face because he's got one of those faces that he could be like a real ramrod straight general. He could be a kind of a bent cop. He could be just a Midwestern dad. He had it going, and like you said, you can have a look all you want, but you got to have the talent. So, and it was evident, and I just so enjoyed meeting him and learning about this particular story. Boom does go the dynamite. My goodness. Yeah. So good one. By the way, I want to say this to you and to the listeners is that you may be starting to notice a pattern of the types of stories I pick and the types of stories Jamie picks. And I think just because we're different kinds of guys in a lot of ways, we're evil twins, but I tend to pick something. I think I stray farther from the stated theme of the show than you do, which maybe your way of saying, yeah, you sure do. But it's just, we both go to the things that we're both super interested in, and that's why this happens.
No, I think it's right. Whatever kind of interests me, I'd heard about this for a long time, and I did not want to do it right off the bat. And
right.
I thought like, well, and stuff, but I was like, and the reason why I finally decided I was down at the River Market a few weeks ago, maybe like a month and a half ago, and down with Colin, and it's such a beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, neighborhood, and it's so now with young people and families are down there, and I was like, I wonder how many of these people know. And I just put up on the screen. We'll have this in the show notes so you can stay. So I'm letting Alex see the aftermath of this bombing on the screen. This is serious business. I mean, they blew away like it looks like an entire city block.
I was going to say it's a city block.
Yeah.
And I guess I did not put T and T together. I mean, two and two together to realize that. Sorry. But it's an entire city block that is just devastated. It looks like freaking Gaza. It's amazing.
It's insane. It's just like, and David Bonadonna fortunately was able to live. I'm not David. David died. Freddie was able to live. But he had to leave town. He never came back.
I wouldn't.
No.
That
was this month. We got one left.
Yes.
Alex, we haven't talked about this officially, but I'm thinking maybe time this summer, maybe you and I just show up at one of the places that we've done and say, we're going to be here on a certain night. And if our fans want to come down, we can do a walking tour downtown and just make it informal.
I think we make an informal walking tour. I love that idea. And actually, I was on my podcast. I said that to my listeners. I said, if you're not listening to, or no, maybe I posted it on my page. If you're not listening to the show, you should listen. And if you want to catch me, and if you're in Kansas City, you're going to get me and my better half, and we're going to maybe do some things. So I think we should, because what we do, listeners, is we do go on kind of a hiatus. We have lives. We love this, and this is a labor of love, and we don't want it to become a labor of labor. And so we're going to have one more episode next month, and then we're going to take a couple months off. But I love this idea with Jamie that maybe we just spring it on you. We'll give you some notice, like a couple of weeks notice, to say, hey, we'll do a little audio, and then we'll put some on the page and say, hey, we're going to be here. Meet us there if you want to join us, in all the deets. So I'm up for it. I think it'll be great. And by the time we do this, I will be through. I work at a university. I'll be through commencement by then, and I will actually stop pulling my hair out. It just gets busy. The busiest time of year for university folks is April and May every year. Fall commencement is a breeze compared to April and May. So anyway, I think that'd be great. I think it'd be great. I have one more. Can we do an update real quick? Can we? We don't have the Robert Stack update, but we should report an update about a story we have been tracking here at Going to Killing City headquarters.
In the newsroom.
In the newsroom. Update. You guys may recall, if you're from this area, and if you're not, real quick, Kansas City Chiefs fans, cause of death revealed after being found frozen in friend's yard. David Harrington, Clayton McGeeney, and Ricky Johnson were found dead outside their friend's Kansas City home, and it was eerie. It was just eerie because they just found them frozen in the backyard dead. So long story short, the causes of death have been revealed. A forensic exam determined that Harrington, age 37, McGeeney, 36, and Johnson, 38, all died of, quote, fentanyl and cocaine combined toxicity, according to court documents. They reveal what responding officers encountered the day they were called to the Kansas City, Missouri rental home, where the group of longtime friends had celebrated the Chiefs' victory just days earlier. On Wednesday, Jordan Willis and Ivory J. Carson were charged with 3 counts of involuntary manslaughter and 2 counts of delivery of a controlled substance except 35 grams or less of marijuana or synthetic cannabinoid. Each charge carries a maximum of 10 years. I believe they're pleading not guilty. The discovery, just real quick, was McGeeney's fiancee, April, I'll leave her last name out of it, you can find it, called authorities after discovering the frozen bodies of the trio on January 9, 2024. The friends had gathered at the rental property to watch the Chiefs play the Chargers around 7 o'clock on January 7, 24. Mahoney, according to court documents, grew alarmed that her fiancee I just gave her a name, April Mahoney, had seemingly disappeared, eventually going to the home and spotting his red Ford 150 parked outside. Repeated door knocking yielded no response, leading her to climb through a basement window, and they located an isolated deceased person on the back patio and called police. It just got weirder from there. You can Google this, but when the police arrived, she told authorities that her fiancé would drink and use cocaine. She noted that McGeeney would get low on money and usually would supply cocaine to his friends. Anyway, let's just leave it where it is. Fentanyl got in there, and they're all gone. So it was a creepy thing, but I think, Jamie, didn't we kind of suspect they just got something cut with fentanyl, right? I mean, we figured.
Well, fentanyl is so scary. I mean, it's killing people left. People don't even know that it's in there. They have no idea, and so little of it can kill you. I mean,
you just stop breathing.
Is obviously a big, everybody knows Prince, to Tom Petty, a girl that went to my son's high school. Mm-hmm. She thought it was ecstasy or something, 17 years old. I mean, every parent's worst nightmare. So it's scary.
And by the way, just the daughter of I'm sorry, I don't have the name in front of me, of a Kansas City comedian who's also a comedian, had a pretty big following on Insta. She was in Mexico just having a good time with friends. She did not do drugs. She was not known for that. She was not even a heavy drinker. She was apparently given a drink at a gathering at a resort in Mexico, and died in her sleep that night. And we can only imagine. I tell my daughter this all the time: if you do not know who made it, do not accept a drink ever. You just don't know. Nope. And you can have Narcan all at your house all you want, but if people don't know, you go to bed and there you go. So it's tragic, but we kind of just want to make sure, since we had brought this one up before, that we would talk about it. But it's like it's tragic in a lot of ways, and it was eerie. And we here at Going to Killing City podcast, we court eerie and interesting, but we are not ghouls, and we feel very bad for April and the people who lost their loved ones. But folks, it's just so dangerous. You got to be so careful.
Yeah.
And that's why we're going to go to war with Canada apparently, because they're supplying all the fentanyl. That's what I hear.
Oh my God, am I going down this rabbit hole? You and I are both very angry men right now.
Yeah, we are. We sure as hell are. But you know what I'm not angry about? I'm not angry about how much fun this episode was. Jim is a great guy. I'm just thrilled, and I apologize if I hijacked part of it just going on.
Well, I've known Jim for over 40 years, so it was not, he and I have talked innumerable times. When I go out to LA, I always get a drink with Jim, so not a problem.
Well, I don't blame you. He's quite the raconteur, I can tell. And be sure, folks, to check the show notes for his show, Shot for Shot. So check it out. Or Shot.
Well, I thought maybe he should go with a killer's location or a killer location. But
yeah, but Gene Baker would not appreciate that. So Gene, we love you.
Gene, we love you, but I'm not giving you Jim Hannah's contact information.
By the way, I've got there's a few things I'm looking forward to for next season, but again, we're not done yet. We got another episode next month, and then we're gonna just pay attention. We're gonna let you know when we're gonna be out and about coming up early this summer, late spring, early summer, right?
Yeah, we don't want one's 100. We don't want to.
Yeah, screw that.
So, Alex, it's your month. What's my hint?
Real simple, my brother. It kind of goes along with what we did tonight, and please, nobody get offended, okay? That's all in good fun, but follow your bent nose.
Follow your bent nose.
Make a drink out of that, brother.
You're laughing. All right, looking forward to it. Everybody, thanks so much. Come out. Whatever you do on St. Patrick's Day, don't drink out of something you don't know. Be safe.
Don't drink and drive.
Never drink and drive. That's why we have Uber and a million other things. It's never worth it.
Never.
It's not worth it. So, all right. We'll see you next month. Bye-bye.
Peace out.
With comprehensive reports on local schools you won't find anywhere else, Homes.com is the only place to find the in-depth info home shoppers want. Very in-depth info. Curious about where a school ranks in the state? Look no further. Percentage of teachers in their first or second year? We've got it. Lowest student-teacher ratio? No problem. The best cafeteria lunch in the district for your 9-year-old food blogger? Would it surprise you if we said yes?
Homes.com. Ding dong. We've done your homework.